The Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast with episode number 392 on deck. You gotta talk to the top of it, but then look at this. It's like, party's over.
This one just I came in and it seems more annoying than it has been up until this point.
Yeah, I'm really not sure if we're gonna. I'm not sure how this is gonna work. It keeps crashing.
Tighten that up in the middle?
Huh?
Middle. Tighten the one in the middle, maybe. Is that
Something.
the one that's?
I had this thing up earlier, and then it started to wilt. I don't know if maybe all the excitement of having it. Never mind. I won't even go there. There's pills for that. Anyway, Crash Course number 392 is on deck. We had to have a might be. We had to have a heart-to-heart with Brian about trusting my judgment before we got going with the show.
Oh, I thought it was serious, man. I thought like there was. I don't know what I thought, but I was starting to get nervous.
It was
Chris used the dry sense of humor he sometimes has and had a little fun at my account. But that's all good. Broad shoulders, I can take it.
How's your weekend?
Nice. It was actually the weekend off.
Yeah?
Nothing, first one in 7 weeks. Have another one in another 7 weeks. It was nice. We Saturday we listened to the Waterloo girls win the Far West Regional and watched a hell of a snowstorm come through and just relaxed. You know, family time. Zach's home for spring break this week, so that's kind of nice to have him home for a week or better and just chilled out and relaxed. You know, so we went over and spent a little time with Dad before. When did we do that? Friday, Saturday? I don't remember.
I saw he was refilling the heater.
So he has his furnace in the garage, and he's got a stand. And on top of it, it's above his head. You can see it in the picture. On top of it's got a 55-gallon drum on its side. So when they fill his
the heating oil?
Oh yeah, the heating oil in the house, he has them put in a couple cans. So he dumps the cans into a can that's got a neck on it, picks it up over his head, and dumps it in. So, and he told us about it before, and we're Zach, we just got done draining the oil and put the truck down. And I'm standing there and look, and I kind of elbow Zach and point. Dad's got his back to us, pouring 5 gallons in this thing, and 5 gallons of diesel's it's around eight gallons a pound, and it's 40 pounds, but
8 pounds a gallon.
At 84 years old, and he was supposed to have shoulder surgery 20 years ago. They wanted to fix both his 30 years ago. They wanted to fix his both rotor cuffs. So he's pouring that. I'm like, Dad, you want Zach to do that? No, I got to stay in shape somehow. And I'm like, yep, sure do, Dad. And I mean, at that age, he's going to do what he wants anyways because he has for the last 80 years. So why would it change now? But no, it's just, one of those things. That generation was called the greatest generation for a reason. And, he's still getting after it.
Well, getting after it, you're asking about the action that we saw out there in Topeka a couple weeks back. The Derby season has hit full swing. There was a comment, and I can't remember where I saw it through the course of the travels today, but somebody said that years ago, a 10,000 to win Derby was something special, and now they're pretty common, which is a great note for the evolution of the sport. And we're going to dive a little bit into some of the compact conversation because building on one of the things that we touched on in 391. Was why do the compacts keep getting called a support class? We've touched on this before, but I think that it's worth bringing up again, given the caliber of show that we saw out there in Topeka. Peoria's in the books. They had a great show out there with Ultimate Derby. With their return to promotions, we've got some changes here locally that are going to happen. And then I had the chance to drive in an online Derby again. Look through some dates. I think it was April 2021. since the last time I got to. So that was really fun. Got to run with Johnny Alexander, JYD, and
how'd you do?
I made terrible decisions, but thankfully I was with somebody who was good and he carried us. But we'll dive into that later on. We've got Jacob Wood going to be on the show. We're going to be talking to Mike Koch a little bit later on as well. And Mike, I apologize. We set everything up and I spaced on the time zones. So he said, yeah, 6:30 should be fine. I'm like, all right, so I'll call you at 6:30 Eastern. And so he gets out of work at 6:30, so hopefully everything works out. But with Jacob, we tried to catch up with Jacob last week, but like you, he was taking in a little bit of basketball as well, and I don't think anybody is going to argue with his decision-making going to check out the basketball game. So before we dive into any of the Capital City Carnage stuff, anything with Compacts, Dunkirk, Blizzard Bash, any of that stuff, we got to know how did the game go?
Oh, she did good. She plays really, really hard. I don't know where she gets that from, but she plays really hard. So I'm always proud of her.
Is there OMM lettering on the jerseys?
No, it's all Mustangs. She plays for the school, so if I had anything to do with it, there probably would be.
Well, I don't know if you saw the discussion as it was taking shape over the course of the last probably 12, 14 days, and there was a lot of people weighing in on it. The compacts are being contested as a filler class, or I don't like that term anyway. I usually call them a support class because you're supporting the main event. But now there's plenty of places where the compacts can run on their own. You're about you're a couple weeks removed from the awesome win that you picked up out there in the front wheel drive Hobo feature at Capital City Carnage. Give me a little bit of some of your take on the notes and where the compact class is at as a whole.
I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've ran compacts all but probably 2 years. I dipped my toes into the big car stuff, but it really wasn't my cup of tea. So that's what everybody's always said, but I don't know. I don't really get in the argument of it. I just try to show up and do my thing.
Well, we saw plenty of that at Capital City Carnage, a dynamite front-wheel drive Hobo stock feature. It was a ton of fun to watch that one. The battle that you had with Frank Napier, and the fact that guy's been building compacts for just under a year and got his car to run the way that it did. It was awesome. Tell me a little bit about the feature from your point of view, and if there was ever a point in there where you thought, gee, fright, this thing just won't die.
Oh, for sure. Well, every time we go to Topeka, whether we're in the team show or any kind of single class, we try to cut the track in half with the guys that we have with us. And it kind of worked out good until you run out of people to hit, and then you got to kind of move your way down the track. Frank was actually never met the guy before, came up to us before the Derby and said, I'm here by myself. You mind if we kind of stay on the same end of the track, don't bother each other? I didn't even know. I don't know him from Eve, so, I was like, yeah, sure. And he was there at the end, and that car would not die. And he's a great guy. He was very cool to talk to, and he stuck to his word. That means a lot to me.
Absolutely.
It was awesome the way that thing kept coming back and kept coming back and kept coming back. And, Jacob was a heavy favorite in the fantasy league voting for starters. So that immediately puts a target on your back if anybody's paying attention to it. Some drivers don't even want to talk about it. It's like a no-hitter. Mavis, he wanted no conversation brought up. None.
Yeah, he's funny about that stuff. We had him on once to talk about parts, and that was like pulling teeth. But man, you want to talk about his on-track performance? Boy, it makes him nervous, and he's, I would say, an above-average successful driver. But he doesn't want to hear about it, man. He's which that's fine.
He had some success again this weekend.
Yeah, he's not doing bad this year.
Yeah, he's a couple weeks in a row and picked up some wins. Yeah, not bad. We'll dive into that here again as we get a little bit deeper into it. But did that at all? I mean, you say you want to show up and do your job. Did that play into any of the psychological decisions about trying to have some extra bodies just to kind of watch your six, so to say? Because it seemed to me that you drove just about a perfect feature for the car that you had. The fenders on it, there was 4 or 5 cars left. The fenders on it were still straight. You could have put him on a road car. It was like a Jake Doyle car. The fenders on it looked perfect before you even started turning it around. But then even as it got late with the way that Frank was running, there was that one shot where he came around the corner and he caught the front of it and it shifted the nose. And he was still pouring smoke he was probably up to like 3 hours at that point. But the thing it wouldn't go away. So, I just wondered from your perspective with the target on your back, if you pay any attention to that, eyes on your own paper, the way that the feature played out, did it go the way you thought it was going to go?
Yeah, I put a ton of pressure on myself anyways, so it was more of a relief than anything and to win. And I don't know if I should have did the nose-to-nose shot, but I was just getting frustrated that his car wouldn't die, and I was trying to beat that rear pillar over. I was going to keep beating it until they made me stop. I knew I had to be getting close to the fuel cell, so that was my initial what I was going to try to do, but it didn't work out that way.
The driving, the chess match was as good as you will ever see. The positioning, the flanking, trying to hide in plain sight and everything. It was so much fun to watch the chess match play out, and then when you can see the frustration, it just was like, okay, enough, and it didn't work. I muted the microphone at one point and leaned over to Steve and I said, "This is like one of those horror films where the bad guy just keeps coming back."
It's funny we have this conversation. I don't know if you saw it, but I just saw it over the weekend, and it was a meme, and it was from a derby, and it was an action, and it showed a car from like half track, and it said full throttle may not be the answer, but it takes the suspense out of it. It shows this car hitting another car, and they nose up, and you can see sparks flying, and I don't think you'll ever moved afterwards, but I was like, that's kind of how I look at it at Derby sometimes. But it's funny. I just happened to see that, and then you talk about this, and Jacob mentioned the nose-to-nose shot he took, but it's sometimes you just. And obviously, I've never been all that successful, winning. I've got a boatload of Mad Dogs, but sometimes I would just get bored and be like, hey, we're gonna go for it and see what happens. And sometimes that just guys do that, and sometimes it turns out good, and sometimes it doesn't.
The other interesting way that played out was the pillar on Frank's car. That I don't know if you saw any of the still pictures or the video of it afterwards. But to say that was getting close to the fuel cell is a bit of an understatement. Remember, these are Hobo stocks. They're not the mod compacts like what we see in the team action. So significantly less done to them. Still safe, but significantly less done to them. Even more of a testament for them to go as long as they did. But Frank, if he put his hand on the back seat, on the front seat to turn and look behind him, he would have had to thread his hand between the headrest and the speaker deck. It got way, way up there, and that thing just would not go away as much as it was dragging and fall apart. I had the chance to meet Frank when we went to the King of Ohio. We worked out there with Derby Tees, and that was the show that Dustin Wood had all the support for Jegs on and everything. And he was just a really, really cool, down-to-earth guy. And he ran the weekend in tribute of, I think it was of his dad. So, it was really one of those things. It's like, I appreciate that Jacob's been voted this high, but sometimes you can't beat fate. But we found a way to get around it. Was there a point where you thought that it was maybe going to go the other way at any point with the way the feature was playing out? I know Kurt got really deep with the PT Cruiser, too.
Yeah, I thought for a minute we had him in the corner. We had Tim, which is also a guy that's kind of local to us. We had Tim and Frank in the corner, and I thought for a second, like, oh, man, this is going to come down to me and Kurt. This might get really fun. But they both worked themselves out of there. And there was a few times where the car would die, and my motor mounts were all broke. So every time my car would die, I was just losing ground off my coil pack. So it would just die, and then whenever it got into gear, it would catch again. But it just kept starting back up. So we got lucky.
It better be lucky than good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, every time.
The PT Cruiser itself, is that something that's going to be more commonplace, or was that just a fun run car?
No, Kurt's looking for more. He was over at my house last night. He wants to run some more of those.
We've seen them run locally,
held up,
and they've held up pretty decent.
Steve kept calling them the PT Bruiser.
They're pretty neat little cars.
Yeah, it held up really good, and we got to looking at it afterwards. And he thinks the motor may have locked up because he said last night he was trying to start it up and it just wouldn't wouldn't turn over. It didn't know if the cylinder filled with water or what happened, but something happened. It wouldn't turn over.
Was his the one that when he tried to refire it at one point, you could see the volcano water come up underneath the between the stack and the collector where it was welded together?
It may have been. I'm not really sure.
I can't remember. Well, did you have your hands busy? You weren't paying attention?
Yeah, I was trying to watch for Frank. He was all over.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where's this win rank? I mean, you guys have had some success out there in Topeka, and you're certainly no slouches
Number
back
two,
at home.
probably. Number two, probably, in my whole career. So, yeah, Blizzard Bash, the Team Compacts, that's probably number one, and then that one's right behind it. But, yeah.
Was that? Did you guys get you guys got the first one, right?
First one, 2016. It's 6 years ago, unbelievably enough.
Sounds like you're due for another one.
Yes, hopefully we get in. I just seen they released the info today, and we're going to try to get in again. But that's just the luck of the draw on that too, trying to get in. But
A lot of times it does come down to just how fast your internet clicks are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it fills instantly.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned when you opened the show about compacts being considered a filler or whatever. And as you were talking, doing the intro and stuff, I was thinking, and we've been, over the years since we've been doing this, we've been to a lot of compact shows. And one thing I can say about compacts, and I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with me, is I have never seen a compact show where guys were sandbagging. You know what I mean? Like, the majority of the shows you go to, guys are getting after it. Bash for Cash, they get after it. Obviously, Topeka. I mean, we've, Pennsylvania, we've been all over. And it doesn't matter what the build, it just seems like compact guys drive hard. Mm-hmm. Now, somebody's going to say, well, compacts aren't as strong, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm telling you what, I've sat there, pretty damn close to tracks and seen guys get knocked out of their seats and almost out of their cars. And I know the speed they're traveling, but I would say like compacts and vans outside of New York, most consistently are like the hardest hitting. Like those guys just get after it. Mm-hmm. Like when you really think about it, like you go online, and you're thumbing through the videos, the compacts and the vans, they get after it.
Is that a product of not having the big money hanging out there? Because other than Bash for Cash, I can't think of any gigantic purse shows.
The team show at Blizzard Bash, they pay pretty well out there.
Yeah.
And those guys don't hold nothing back. We've talked after heats about, geez, I don't know how many of those cars are coming back, because they're on it. But that's, and I hats off to that, because that's, I'm simple to entertain. I like to see these guys hit hard and breaks, parts fall off. As I've mentioned, I enjoy the chess match, but I'd rather sit there and just see guys run wide open for 10 minutes and it be over. But so I've really grown to enjoy the compacts. I mean, and it's funny, Jacob mentioned how long he's been running. And as I was driving in here tonight, I was just thinking, this year will be my 30th year of competition.
Really?
Now, I haven't ran straight 30 years. I've probably missed 4 or 5 where I didn't run anything. But I mean, there was years where I ran 5 or 6. But the first year I ran was the year I graduated. And this will be 30 years in June that I've graduated since we graduated. So
2022 is the 30th year.
Yes.
So that means that your career's touched 4 decades.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
How crazy is that? But I mean, so I remember the first compact derby I saw here. It was at Ontario County Fair, and there was a Fox Body Mustang, and I can't remember a couple other cars. And it was, nothing to what it's grown into now. But, I've really grown to enjoy watching the compacts because they get after it, and it's neat to see what guys can do and what guys bring. And so I would, we see Jeremy Gelly have a lot of success with his compacts as the premier class. Father's Day weekend, so
Mini Meltdown.
Yeah, it's good to see.
What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Around here, most of the time the compacts bring more cars than the big cars, but like you said, they fly around because they don't have near the money in the cars. I mean, most of the guys that run that class are just, you got your 3 or 4 or 5 that spend the money and go out. But a lot of guys, that's why you always got to survive the first 3 or 4 minutes of the derbies, because you got your guys that are out there just flying around. But that's part of the strategy. That's part of the fun of being out there.
I think that's a huge difference running the compact stuff versus running the big cars. Is the first 5 minutes, it's a much different degree of survival. And while you might not see the sandbagging or the chess match that you might be accustomed to and pick out when you watch a full-size derby, there's still guys that know how to moderate their pace regarding what's around them.
True.
True. They're always going to be around at the end without, overtly sandbagging. I mean, when you look at the rundown, there are definitely people around here. The couple of names come to mind in the Woodstock circles that are always there at the end, and there's a reason for that. They're good drivers, whether it's because they're invisible, whether it's because they sandbag, whether they just let, when 5 cars are flying around at 50 miles an hour and they're hitting each other and not you. Odds and proof.
Life is good. Life is good.
But you also hit on that deal with Mini Meltdown, and the big one that comes to mind that was sort of an organic start was that deal at Woodstock when they had so many cars they injected a ton of money into the purse to reward those guys the way that it happens. And the big news when Smash It created the standalone 10,000 to win class. And that class at Winter Slam, the compact division, was always awesome.
Yes.
It was always awesome.
You look, our hometown, it's been they've had compacts have had more cars for probably a decade. I would say easily.
And they could easily make the show heats and feature.
Yeah.
Broome County was the same way for a long time.
Yeah, but it's luckily it's big enough where they can put 30 cars on the track and they can tear stuff up. But no, it's I've really grown. I enjoy watching. It's definitely a class that I feel is gaining respect. You're starting to see a lot of the bolt-ons, the add-ons being built and produced.
And that stuff's been around for a while too. I mean, that was one of the big influxes, right, Jacob? Correct me if I'm wrong, and I cut you off a second ago. I'm sorry. That was one of the big reasons why the team show was going to work when the compacts were added to Bash for Cash, because all that bolt-on stuff was coming along. Like Gray Area was a huge input on that, right?
Right. Yep. I think he was one of the first ones. I think, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe 7, 8, 10 years ago. I met him at
10 years.
Hot Springs Havoc in Arkansas. So that was a long time ago, and there wasn't hardly any compact builders at that time. And I bought all my stuff from him to get started, and that's when it kind of got serious. And then now, I mean, there's a bunch of guys. I mean, the RDS guys, I run all of his stuff. I have to give him a shout out. He takes care of us down here, even though he's from, I don't even know where he's from, somewhere up north somewhere, but he always takes care of us. And there's tons of guys. NLR, they do a lot of compact stuff now too. But yeah, there's a ton of them guys doing that now too.
I mean, when you think about it, even when we first started going to Topeka, there was only a handful of guys that had carbureted motors. Right. Now everybody runs carbureted, and they sound like small blocks pulling in there. They sound like well built, just screaming. And it's it's good to see that some guys guys obviously wanted to take it to that next step. And it's more power to them. But as we said, even the guys that that run the heavier classes and the higher paying, they still go out there and they drive hard, and it's great to see. I mean, I love to see it. I wouldn't want to be in them. I wouldn't want to feel what they feel the next day. But it's great to watch. So
remember that in car when I think it was Ty Redness got knocked out?
The guy's son that takes all of our stuff.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was a bad thing.
Yeah,
a really good friend of ours.
He got rattled.
Yeah, that was bad.
He was all right with it.
Where not so much for the philosophical conversation, where to from here would be where do the compacts go? Brian alluded to them gaining respect and gaining progress. And Canada's got even different rules with their mid-size stuff versus their compact versus their full size. So there's different life for some of the cars up over the border versus what we've got here. They've been gaining respect for a long time, but I think it's might not be a bad time for them to just say, look, They can carry a show.
Yeah.
But beyond that, for you and for the team and everybody, what's the plan for the rest of this year?
We have a indoor show in Lebanon, Missouri in a few weeks, April 2nd.
Okay.
Then Joshua signed us up for that. There's a team show in May. He told us Saturday while we were down there at Topeka, hey, me, you, and Kurt are all signed up. So I guess we're going to put cars together for that. And then the whole summer is probably nothing because every weekend, me and Joshua, we do our own thing. So we got derbies and figure eights that we put on. Mm-hmm. So nothing all summer pretty much until every weekend we have something that we're promoting ourselves. And then Blizzard Bash, hopefully.
Awesome. That promotion for you guys has really gotten some traction.
Oh yeah, it's been very, very good for us. The guys around here, they have fun with it, and we do a point series for them, and really try to take care of them, and it's worked out pretty well so far.
Awesome. Anybody else that you wanted to make mention of before we let you go?
Yeah, that purple car out there that was running that said Mom on the side of it, I got to give them guys a shout-out. He's the reason why I ran that class at all. It wasn't even planning on running, but he's a guy, and his mom passed away this year, and he said, I want to run with you guys out there. I want to be on the track in Kansas with you. He's out there every year with us. He works our butt off in the pit when we're running at Blizzard Bash. His name's Brian, and I got to give him a shout-out. He called when we were supposed to be leaving. I said, well, you ready? And he said, well, I think my transmission's out of my car.
Oops.
Oh, no.
And I said, oh, no. I said, well, bring it over. I said, you're gonna, I'm not going without you. So he brought his car over, and I had a transmission laying there, and we put it in there the night before. He left my house about midnight and with a running, driving car. So he was happy, that smile on his face. He's the one that got on top of his car there at the other end of the track where we drive in. He's just had a great time. So that made it worth it to me.
Awesome. Well, I hope you have a great summer, and all the promotion stuff goes smooth for you with rules and inspections and all that. And of course,
and my wife, I never say her on here, and she always gets on to me. I gotta say that.
Probably a good choice.
I almost forgot.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yep. But I appreciate you guys. It was good to see you at breakfast that morning, Chris. I missed talking to you. Brian, I hope I catch up with you sometime soon.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be out there soon, bud.
Yep. You guys have a good day.
All right, man. We'll see you later. Have a good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye now. That was awesome. It was a good time out there. We're gonna be catching up with Mike Koch here in a little bit. We're gonna try and give him a little bit of cushion so he can get home from work. We'll run through some stuff.
Pay some bills.
That we had. Yeah. Real quick. I can't believe this, and I missed the anniversary of ours in the last year. I don't know how long we've been friends on Facebook, but I'm sure that it's not as long as we've actually known each other in real life. But Josh put up a bunch of pictures from the last 10 years. It was the 9-year anniversary that we've been friends on Facebook, and I was reminded that we met in Penn Yan. I think the first time was when we met when he had that wagon, and how things have changed since he had that Fury wagon. So it was cool that was up there. I didn't realize that today was that day. We've got some results quick from Peoria. We'll run through that stuff. Let's just save that stuff for the end. We'll get into that. We got that taken care of. Oh, locally, did you see that? All right, perfect. Mike is ready to go whenever. Did you see that they're changing the dates? There's a proposal to change the dates in Dunkirk to a Friday and a Sunday.
No.
I'm interested. It's interesting. It's interesting the change, making some different transitions to some one and dones and some of those other ways that show's potentially going to be affected and evolve. It certainly cuts down on the amount of time that you need to repair a car, but also with the changes in the rules and stuff and the changes in the divisions, it's not so much qualifying and feature anymore either. So it'd be kind of neat to see if that did happen. Because I mean, a Friday night under the lights in Dunkirk is probably going to be a pretty good time, as long as the whole crowd doesn't go to a football game.
Yeah, well, it's kind of big up there. Did you touch on last week the tribute car that they had at Show World, not Show World.
Not Show
Auburn.
World, Speed World.
Speed World. Yeah, did you touch on that? Or
I did not, no.
For, oh, Jesus. Howie.
Okay.
Kyle.
Paul Reynolds had his car up there, too.
Yeah, Kyle and Howie were best friends, worked together for years. They started together at Geneva Ford. Their dreams were both to have their own places, and they ended up doing that. Unfortunately, Howie was lost to COVID over the winter, so Kyle put together a car and had a couple. I'm sure you've dealt with Howie once or twice over the years.
Oh, yeah.
At Seneca County, and he always had that smile, and he had a big sticker of him on the hood, and
The smile and the suit coat.
yeah, so that was nice to see. I missed it. I missed the show last week, so but I wanted to make sure that got mentioned. Yeah, Paul Reynolds had his car up there, done early. I'm trying to get on him now. I'm like, boy, you can't wait till July to run. I'm like, you got to get some stuff out of the way, get some. So I'm trying to get him to run somewhere else. His dad might want to kill me for it, but it's okay. But yeah, so just wanted to get that out there.
Greg Mayberry started derbying when he was 16. This is in the chat. Didn't run a lot in all those years. He's 59 now. He took a little time off after the heart attack and then came back.
Good for him.
And then we were talking about the compacts, and a bunch of times where Brett won both Owego V8 and compacts with the same car.
Happens.
Guy Raymond said compacts are for rookies. Nobody's ever said that. I know. Guy. This is a topic that's very, very near and dear to Guy, and it was good to see that he got out and tried his luck other places other than at home. I know it's not easy for him to travel, but he's able to get out and found some success down there. He's going to be making the trip back to the Dead Man shows, I believe.
Did you get a friend request from TJ today, McCullough?
No, I didn't.
I'm wondering if he was hacked and I got that, or if he actually had to redo another one. So
I don't know.
if anybody has heard from TJ or knows TJ or anything like that, let us know.
Frankie Guy, he's another guy that puts a lot of attention into the compact stuff.
Frankie had some sort of medical procedure today, and apparently it went well, but we want to send our well wishes to Frankie.
It must have gone well because he's right there.
Yeah. Well, Michelle posted this morning that Frankie was having his procedure, and it was his first ever surgery, and he must have been nervous because he was yelling at her. So, and then later she said that everything went well. So, Frankie, we're glad to hear all is well. Get healed up, whatever it may be, and thinking about you, buddy.
Awesome. Well, let's take a quick break. We'll be back, and we'll get into more right after this.
Jeffy's Fab Farm in Fredericksburg, Virginia specializes in all of your demolition derby needs. We've got you covered from bumper to bumper. Whether you need headers, shifters, harnesses, fueling systems, or complete turnkey setups, Jeffy'sFabFarm.com can help. We've even got a Canadian branch to help our northern customers. With over 16 years in the industry, we've got the knowledge and experience needed to provide the highest quality parts and put you in the winner's circle. Visit our website today or call Jeff at 540-907-3390. Fabby says the best parts come from the farm. Jeffy'sFabFarm.com.
All right. And let's see. The Ross County Fairgrounds is going to be the home of the Bash for Cash once again this year, May 27th through the 29th. Online, SmashItDerby.com. 3-man team pro stock, 15,000 to win. Turn back the clock class, 12,000 to win. Smash It Mini, 10,000 to win. 2,000 to win. Each of them Smash It full size, street stock mini, street stock full size. Pro Stock Mini, Youth Mini, Smith Metalworks, Youth Full Size, Street Stock Minivan, Truck, SUV, Frank the Tank, Relic, Farm Truck, all part of the support division. May 27th, opening night. Pro Stock Team Heats, Smith Metalworks, Youth Full Size, start time 7 o'clock. Turn back the clock heats on May the 28th, start the day. Pro Stock Team Consi, Youth Mini, Street Stock Mini, Van, Mini Truck, SUV division, Street Stock, full-size Frank the Tank class, and Smash It Mini. Part of that Saturday program, Championship Sunday, Farm Trucks, Street Stock Mini class, the Relic class, Pro Stock Mini, Smash It full-size Pro Stock Team feature, and the Turn Back the Clock feature. Again, that's the Bash for Cash, May 27th through the 29th, 2022. And then also, quick note, April 1st at 7 o'clock Central is going to be the opening for the National and the teams that made it to the national bracket through qualifying, limited weld and compact divisions. That's going to close at midnight on April the 14th. National teams need to be paid by midnight. That was shared on the Blizzard Bash page. Candace is going to be collecting contacting each captain for the teams that are allowed to sign up early and tell you how to get signed up that way. April the 15th is going to be the opening for the remaining spots in qualifying, limited weld and compact teams, and the single classes. Team entry fee $600, and the online registration fees. Qualifying team, they're taking $800 entry for the 4-man team, limited weld and compact teams. 14 teams being taken $800 plus the online reg. All of that information is out there. The single classes will be the link for everybody to sign up on the 15th, Blizzard Bash, November 10th through the 13th, 2022, in Topeka, Kansas.
Say that 3 times fast.
It doesn't go well. Unified Point Series, Wicked Destructions, or Wicked's Urban Destruction in Sturgis is this weekend, April 18th and 19th, and we got a month off before Dead Man's No Mercy, April 15th and 16th, and then it gets real busy. Derby Icon Spring X is the week after that, and then April 30th is Hardcore's Compact Throwdown, and then May the 14th, Controlled Chaos in Knox, Pennsylvania. The standings right now, Ty Richards is on top with 30 points, Corey Buddy was second place with 16, Michael Kelly 15 points in third, Trevor Jones tied with Mason Stacy in 14, Foogie Barnes and Bill Miller, 12 points, and they're tied for 6th. Tied for 8th, there's 14 drivers with 10 points each there. And the RPM Group, just wanted to tell you a little bit about the RPM Group, Progressive Waste Management Company based in Owego. The RPM Group started in 2016 and now boasts 2 roll-offs and 6 garbage trucks. They're fully certified and licensed. The RPM Group customer base has grown to nearly 4,000 people now, which is just crazy. They offer curbside trash and recycling services in addition to asbestos abatement, asbestos surveys, interior and exterior demolition, lead renovation, mold remediation, mold assessment, dumpster rental. Online, rpmgroup.com, 607-223-8714. I talked to Corey over the weekend, and he was elbow deep at one of the camps down in Yates County. Mm-hmm. It didn't sound like a fun job, but somebody's got to do it, I suppose. Smith Metal Works is going to be hosting the Demolition Derby Expo April 8th and 9th in Mercer, Pennsylvania. The event's going to include several seminars and include collaborative rules meeting in addition to a number of vendors. There's a lot more information to come. Jump online, smithmetalworks.info for full details on that one. There's also schedules and a list of the vendors, including Smash It, Iron City, Spinning Wheels, Hardcore, Toast, Deadman, and more. Online, their Facebook page, Smith Metalworks, WORX, Facebook.com, Smith Metalworks, WORX, on the social media stuff, and then again, their website where you can buy all of the products and stuff. This is the debut of the new facility. It's the debut of the spec class. They're going to be running a derby that night. Online, Smith Metalworks, WORKS.info for more experience and passion, second to none. All right, we covered all that stuff. I'll let you know more about All for Him Racing.
Where'd you go?
We did a derby.
Ow, my head! You want to do a derby?
Hey Derby World, this is All For Him Racing Videos, where Derby never ends. We have people come up and ask, what is All For Him Racing Videos? And the answer is a YouTube channel dedicated to growing the sport of demolition derby in a positive and fun way. Our passion is to show the next generation the sport and capture the memories for generations to come. We're just trying to show that you can be a Christian, do crazy and exciting things like demolition derby, and just spread the word. We have traveled all over the country filming events, all while meeting many great people, hearing amazing stories, seeing the passion for this sport, and falling in love with the derby community. We have grown to be the largest demolition derby channel on YouTube across the world, with millions of views within our large library of videos. We love what we do and can't wait for what the future has in store. We always want to be a place for positive, exciting, and action-packed derby videos. Thank you, Derby World, and enjoy the videos.
You know, I think Alex is probably the only guy I've met whose pure passion for derby comes anywhere near yours. I think you and him...
You got to get out more.
I think you and him really come at it from a good spot. More.
You know what I've never asked him in all the times that we've met I don't know if he's ever driven a car.
I don't know.
I never really even thought to ask him. I just sort of assumed that he had. But in watching the video, it makes me wonder if he's coming at it from a different perspective.
Could be.
You know who comes at it from a different perspective?
Mike.
Cook Transmission Coolers. He had a great run out there and got the chance to get away with a door shot on Nate Middendorf. It was awesome, Mike. Mike, man, congratulations on the win. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
I'm glad we were able to get together. Congratulations on that. That feature was awesome.
Yep.
So we were talking a little bit about can the compact stand alone? Are they being misnamed in terms of the support classes or a filler class or something? How about from your perspective? You know, Brian said that the compacts are getting a little bit more respect here the last several years. We've seen a bunch of shows crop up to where the compacts are the headline event, and they're starting to get the opportunity to get paid more money. They're part of the Blizzard Bash team bracket that you guys won last year with Team Minnesota Madness. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I would say that they're definitely starting to become more recognized. I mean, at the big shows, a lot of the county fairs and stuff, there's still a smaller payout and usually a larger turnout, but usually also a way lighter build.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of them. Our main issues around here is finding a place to run our cars.
Yeah. How long is the tow for you guys to get down to Topeka?
How long does it take?
Yeah.
It takes me just a little over 8 hours, and I'm probably the furthest north out of all the guys.
So
That's terrible.
Yeah, but still, it's tough to drive 8 hours to drive a car. You know,
Yeah.
it's the only place you can drive it.
Yeah, that's true. That is
Yeah,
true.
that's essentially why we run Carnage. Just because we know we can basically bring our Blizzard Bash cars back there. Same rules,
Are they finished off after Carnage?
No.
How many years worth of Blizzard Bash team cars do you have laying around then?
I actually usually end up scrapping mine good. I really don't save I don't have an attachment issue on my used cars, but I've thrown away plenty good ones just to get my parts out of them.
How long?
Get the good parts and send them. You can find another donor body.
Yeah.
How long do Nate and Jared hang on to their Camaros?
Too long. I think for the most part, I think they just have last year's left, and then the ones they ran, or the ones from 2019, and then the ones from 2021.
Gotcha.
But they get pretty twisted up and stuff too, so.
It was really a feather in the cap for front-wheel drive guys all over the place when you were able to beat the rear-wheel drive Camaro. I got to believe anyway. Out there, the playing field gets fairly even, but there was all that discussion always every year under the Smash It banner. We get the Bash for Cash. Who's going to win? What are the numbers? How many front wheel? How many rear wheel? What's out there? But out there, it's generally more Mustangs and Pintos and stuff. The Camaro's a bit of a different animal. Take me through that feature and where that ranks in the on the resume.
I guess basically I just kind of tried to hold my cool and went and seen how everything was panning out, and it started out kind of slow pace. We all were on the same side of the track, and towards the end there it just kind of started picking up. It came down to a bunch of Blizzard Bash buddies, so it ended up being a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be at the end.
Well, I was just going to touch on that. I mean, Chris and I have walked through the pits out there, and I mean, all you guys are pretty good friends that run that, that run that class at Blizzard Bash. I mean, we've seen you and Brellinger and Nate, and just hanging out, shooting the breeze, and a little bit of friendly, talking, crap back and forth to each other, and but it is. I mean, a lot of you guys are pretty good buddies. So I mean, it gets down to the end, and you want to beat. There's nobody better to beat than one of your friends for the win. So it had to be a little fun when you got down there towards the end.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's one of mine and probably all these other guys' favorite parts about like Blizzard Bash and stuff. We're just all I really don't have bad blood with anybody at Blizzard Bash or even Carnage.
That's cool.
It was really fun to watch the opening moments of that to figure out what was going to happen. And as suspected, all the cars that were painted the same ran together.
Funny how that works out sometimes, huh?
It like if you sprinkle in one or two more colors, it was like a replay of last fall. It was really cool to watch it. It was fun, just fun because it didn't seem to me where anybody was necessarily holding back. They were just waiting for the smart shots and the smart openings, and I don't think there was maybe but one or two immediate kill shots. There was a lot of cars that endured a lot of abuse before they fell off, and it did end up coming down a bit to a numbers game where a certain group had eliminated enough of the other group where then they could just start turning on one another. But it wasn't for sure what it was going to come down to in terms of the win, though.
Yeah. I mean, me, Nate, and Andy, we pretty much had intentions of hitting each other and stuff. I mean, we were obviously down there as a team where we always stick together, but at the end of the day, me and Nate, we were hitting each other pretty good there throughout the Derby, and then, at the end, we still put on a show. It's not like, or tried to, I guess. I was kind of limping around, and Nate was getting to his last leg as well.
Is Andy, you're referring to Andy Oxa, Jeremiah Adams as well, are those guys absolutely out of their mind?
Yeah, they're their own person. Good sense of humor, good guys.
They are a ton of fun to watch, but like Brian said, never, ever would you want to be in a compact being hit by either of those guys.
Well, every team needs a hammer. I mean, or two or three or whatever.
Yeah, Jeremy Johnson especially. I mean, he's that guy loves the hit. He's always known to junk his car, and I told him after our heat at Carnage, I told him, I was like, man, if you could have hung off for a little bit, he probably could have made the top three, but it got down to 5, and he was just pedal to metal, and then he eventually started on fire. So
any car that is painted flat black and the roof sign has a name that allows you to put 2 crosshairs in the middle of the name, just stay out of his way. He's already telling you what he's going to do.
Oh yeah, that's that flat black that adds like 10 points of toughness on any car.
Well, Mike said that they were planning on hitting each other. It's like, yes, you were going to hit each other, but I don't remember any middle stage of that derby where you're hitting one another in third gear. At the end it was a little bit different than it was in the middle. Yes, the paint was traded. There's a bumper for everyone, but it wasn't quite the same.
Oh goodness!
What ended up happening to Nate's car? He lost steering at one point, right?
I think at the end there, he said his. I don't know if he said his steering locked up or not. I know he lost his clutch, so he couldn't move at the end there. That's why he just ended up breaking his stick. And I'm guessing that's the main reason why he just kind of shut her down.
How crazy was that GM wagon that was out there? That was the 726 Customs car. Cody Knuth?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted him to run at Blizzard Bash in the worst way, just to kind of, because we kind of always hee-hawed talking about running G-bodies down there, and, I mean, it was kind of, we just kind of wanted to see how it went, basically at Carnage, he ran it at a show in Minnesota to make it pre-run in order to make it allowed at Carnage.
Okay.
So, it's a hard car. I guess he didn't really get to see the way it is actually going to bend without plates and stuff like that too. So, but yeah, he's a smart driver, and he's a really good builder. So I mean that could have been a very competitive car.
Did you see any of that?
I did not.
So it was correct me where I go astray here. I think it was a Malibu Wagon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Malibu Wagon. And remember, from a couple years ago, when Nick King and those guys came out, that was the year that there was a couple Oldsmobiles, there was a couple like Monte Carlos or Cutlasses that ran.
Malibu wagon,
not a Chuck Chapman Malibu wagon.
No, but like the smaller, like there was a like a mini version of a Chevy Roundback wagon.
No.
Yep.
Well, because now we're getting now I'm confused on what era you're talking about for.
Had to be late 70s, early 80s.
Cody's?
Yeah.
Was it Cody's in the 80s?
Yeah.
I think we're all talking about the same thing.
Yeah, his was in that same era based on the wheelbase when the Monte Carlos and stuff all came and they ran, and it was that same type of look. And I got a message from TJ wondering about why is there a Vic wagon out there, and it's and TJ was asking about it, and since I wasn't sure on what the car was, I just tried to justify why the car was there.
They just dropped a 4-cylinder and called a gun. I don't know what to tell you. Cut the frame off. Who knows?
It was a 91 HD frame. They just unhooked 4 plug wires. No, but we were talking about Nate's car when he went out to Bash for Cash, and with the Smash It rules, he had a Fairmont.
Yes.
Was it Fairmont or was it a Granada?
It was a Fairmont.
It was a Fairmont. So that compared with the G bodies that had come and run in the team element before, we knew that there was some sort of precedent for this car to be here. However, I can't tell you what it is. And I think it was Creetlow had messaged me and said it was a Malibu wagon, and it was neat. It didn't get to find its full potential, but when they get that dialed in a little bit, it's going to be a neat car to watch. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it'll definitely be cool. If he has to come back or not, or build another one, it'll definitely be interesting to see how it goes.
Are those easy to find up there?
I think he might have another one. I've seen a couple of them. I guess I'm not really interested in that stuff. But, I run front-wheel drive compacts or full-size cars. I never really got into the rear-wheel drive compact stuff.
Right.
But I could definitely build one if I wanted to, but it's just a whole nother, set of equipment I'm going to need.
Well, isn't it a creature of habit type thing where you've done so many of these front wheel drive cars where there's really not any need to change it? You've found you do okay with the front wheel drive. We're not really looking for a change here.
Yeah, basically. We kind of figured out. We try something different every year for the most part, but when we figured out the basics, especially with like Blizzard Bash and Carnage rules, and we just kind of go with it, and it's actually really been working for us. And tech's been smooth. They appreciate our clean builds and all that. So it gets easier as time goes on building front wheel drives.
Are those still easy to come by?
They're getting a little harder, and just like everything else, they're getting expensive now.
Stop winning with them, and I bet you they'll get cheaper.
Yeah, I'm sure that has something to do with it. They're becoming, becoming rare, and everybody wants to run them. And the type of cars that we run at Blizzard Bash and Carnage are pretty sought after. So, Luminas and Cutlasses in general seems to be the ones everybody wants.
Where is the cooler business now? How's all that going?
It's going great. I can't get caught up, so I guess that's always positive. But,
I was just going to ask about that. I see your stuff all over, so I figured it was keeping you pretty busy.
Yeah, it's really busy. I own a bread business as well. My fiance owns a daycare, and then the tranny cooler, so it gets pretty hectic around my place. But I'll try to stay on top of our game.
What was that about the daycare?
My fiance owns a daycare, so.
Are any of them old enough to where they could?
I wish.
Working right into a little labor in the shop.
Yeah.
What have you guys got planned for points past this?
Well, them guys got Bash for Cash. Me and Andy haven't ran that one yet. We signed up for that team show in West Union, Iowa, 10,000 to win. That's in September. And then we're talking about signing back up for Blizzard Bash here. We just seen that they released a date on that.
Yep.
So other than that, just a few county fairs. I plan on building a full-size car this summer, and yeah.
Is that being built behind a cloak of secrecy?
The full-size car?
Yeah.
No. I'll probably ask Mom around county fairs with it. I like running full-size cars, so most of my friends run compact, so that's kind of where the whole compact thing got in with me, you know, just think even when I met you, you know, long time ago down at Winter Slam, I was running full-size cars down there yet.
Yeah, it's been within the last, 6 years or so, moving over to the compacts, and then still bouncing back and forth too. It's not like it's
just one
thing, but at the same time, there's it's probably a little bit easier if you're gonna stick with going to Topeka. You can fit a whole lot more front wheel drive cars on a trailer than you can full size cars, right?
No doubt.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Well, what's the September show?
It's I can't remember what it's called exactly. It's in West Union, Iowa. It's a 4-man team. Little lighter than Blizzard Bash. And it's going to be me, Andy, Nate, and Jared. So our exact team is going to be down there.
Is that going to cut into your Blizzard Bash prep time?
I hope not. I usually don't start my car till the end of September anyways for Blizzard Bash. So I don't think it will. I mean, I plan on building a new motor and putting another setup together, so I don't think it'll interfere with it.
Awesome.
Cool.
When you put your motors together, you go through and you tear down the old ones and everything. What is the worst condition that you found an engine that came out of one of your cars?
Well, I usually don't mess with my engines. That's usually always Andy. He's the brains behind my motors. But as far as carnage on my motors, broken blocks.
Yeah.
I've gone through 3 blocks just from Blizzard Bash and Carnage, and yeah, so everything gets so tight and wadded up, it just jars around in there, and something eventually gives.
I don't remember what the car was in any way, but I just remember a low-angle camera shot of the car that had caught on fire. They put the fire out, and it looked like the fluid running out of the bottom of the engine was also on fire as it was dropping out onto the track. So there's a little bit of heat in there, and
nice.
Just you always wonder if it's those compact engines, if it's one of those aluminum ones. Are we melting the aluminum now?
Yeah. That's an aluminum dripping off. Yeah.
Is it molten aluminum or is it just oil or what?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Well, knock on wood, I've never really had any engine issues with the motors that Andy's put together for me, and neither has he. So we've been pretty good there. So.
Oh, well, I was more just making a conversation. I hope that doesn't turn into any type of quiz. Let's not go any further down that rabbit hole. I do not want that on my head. My conscience I won't be able to take it. Well, that's awesome. I hope that goes well. What was the show, the team show that Jacob was talking about? That was in Missouri, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's got one down there. That's this spring.
Yeah, that's an indoor show in April. That's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I was like, is this like a Blizzard Bash reunion or something? What's going on? But makes more sense. Awesome. Well, I hope everything goes well with the builds this summer. The full size car. I hope to track down some pictures of that when that's all done, and you get to terrorize everybody at the county fairs. And certainly wish you the best of luck in September at the team show, and then look forward to seeing you again, if not before, in Topeka for the fall.
Yep.
Is there anybody else you want to make mention of? I know we talked about Andy with the engines and the team and everybody. Is there anybody else that we missed?
Not really. I have a huge list of sponsors that anybody can see on Facebook. My family for putting up with all the derby mess. Yeah, other than that.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you making some time for us tonight. I know we got the wires crossed a little bit on the time, and it's always great to catch up with you.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll catch up with you soon, man. Good luck.
All right, thanks.
See you now.
Yeah.
There goes Mike Koch.
It's funny how many different variations that KOCH is pronounced.
Yep.
From state to state to state to state.
Yep. It is. It depends on what part of the country you're in, what letters you pronounce, in what order. Yep. All right. So we do have some results from the Derby in Peoria this weekend. We had some stuff on that. James Kitchell, we talked about in Topeka that James was one of those guys that once he breaks through and all the pieces fall together, he's got plenty of experience. So take nothing away from him. The big stuff's going to fall in line. It's going to fall in line in rapid fashion. He got the win over Jamie Cradlebaugh and Booger. Mad Dog went to Jerry Lyerly and the Mod. That's the top three at the Whiskey City event in Peoria. The fifth and final one and done, the top three, and the Mad Dog Awards the win went to Bobby Whitaker. Dusty Gilgis was second. Kyle Wayner was third. Mad Dog went to David Diemel. That fourth one and done was Rob Ewer, Brandon Carpenter, Eric Diemel, Brandon Carpenter, second place. Also Mad Dog Award Bone Stock full size. Travis Rhodes got the win over Kirby Manuel and Chris Basso. And then Chris Basso also got the Mad Dog Award in that one, the youth top three. CJ Klein got the win. And it was on the same weekend that Mark was celebrating a birthday, so a lot of joy in the Klein household with the win there in the youth top three. Wes Amthauer, Wiley Lang, and Alexis Johns with the Mad Dog. Bone Stock Compacts, Cody Meyer got the win there. Ron Brown, Chad Hurd got third place in Mad Dog. Superstock Heat 3 was Josh Hutchinson. Mike Kershite, another name that we recognize, was second place. Nick Austin, Steve Rowan was the Mad Dog in the Superstock Heat 3. Superstock 2, John Mavis over Mark Klein. Ariel Walker, Sam Bando with a Mad Dog Award there. And then Superstock 1, Ryan Weinkoff, Jay Baumler, Chris Hammond, and Ralph Legis there through the last Superstock Heat over there in Peoria. So
yeah, Bobby Whitaker took 2 cars out. I sent him a text and offered to drive one of them for him, and he laughed. So I guess he didn't need a driver. So I just wanted to be a good guy. You know what I mean? Try to help out. I know it's, even he can't drive 2 cars at the same time. So
just helping a friend.
I just wanted to help a friend out. Nah, he was good. He didn't need the help.
Yeah. So he picked up a win. That was cool. It's CJ getting the win. Mark got second place, and that was neat. Luke Schaffner, he helped put the stuff in place for CJ's car. So it was just neat. It was cool to see. And then last night I had the chance to run in an online derby for the first time in forever.
Clean house and took names like Chris Marquardt does.
I did not.
What'd you run? What kind of car?
If you had to guess.
Vic Wagon.
Yep.
Mopar.
No.
You don't run a Mopar motor?
No.
I'm disappointed in you.
I disappoint people.
It's too bad.
Nope. They had an LS in it, and it was an 03 frame that was tilted.
Hey, wasn't there one of those at Topeka? We won't go there.
The tilt wasn't the issue, but that's a story for another time.
The 03 was, though.
But yeah, it was fun. It'd been a while. It'd been a long time since I had a chance to actually just drive and drive in a
Could you put the taillights back in it when you got done having an 03 frame?
No.
You didn't just use the nose up? You used both ends
No,
up?
actually, I started out with the back, but I started out with a plan. And see, that's where you go awry. Because I just ended up getting separated from JYD. And when I was trying to get back down there, I think it was Lee Sager had a white shocker, and he wouldn't let me get up next to him. We wanted to be side by side, and I couldn't get in there, so I kept poking with the bumper, and I just got kind of bored because I was stuck in the middle of the track. So at that point, it's like, well...
So you backed it up to the wall and just held her wide open?
There was I believe it was, I don't know for sure, but I believe it was Justin Riley that was in a blue roundback, I think. And I'm not 100% sure, but I chased him all over the place and wadded up the back.
Pillar Park, did you?
Yeah.
Felt good, didn't it?
It was cool. It was fun. And then turned it around and just got, it's like, it's basically an Imperial under here. It just started smashing into quarter panels, but I ended up with too many, as it was described, too many Ooga Doogas, and went flying across the track and hooked a bumper and got up in the air, and it ripped the wheel off. So then I was on 3 wheels. But thankfully, I was with someone who knew what they were doing. And JYD, there was some craziness at the end of the heat, and they ended up taking 3 instead of 2. So we went to the feature on that. And in the feature, I just figured why not. But the bumper was lower than I was ready for, and the second shot, Parker knocked the front wheel off it, knocked the steering out of it, so it became a point and shoot. But there was a couple guys out there that just kept hitting the corner of the car and get it spun, so it would just be like straight line fast. It was fun.
Do you run standard or automatic?
I run a stick shift.
Nice. Can you shift when you're going across the...
So, the thing is, it occurred to me when I was flying across the track, because we made some changes to the car, and we were testing the thing out, and we dialed it a little bit different this time, and it was a lot faster than I was ready for. So I was thinking, I could probably change gears. It probably wouldn't hurt. I generally don't. I put it in first gear and I run it in reverse. I just gear it that way so it doesn't stall. So you don't need to use a clutch, just up and down back through the gearbox. But it had more to go in second gear, but when you can't steer, when wheels, there's really not much you can do. You don't want to get second gear and then have everybody move.
Yeah, hit a wall 40. That just doesn't do good for the nose.
It was neat to get a chance to run against a lot of people that I talked to on a regular basis. Lee was there, Marty Sager was there, and Parker and Bryson were there, and it was just fun to get a chance to do it again. So next weekend there's a 2-day show, and I think we got our quartet set for that. We're gonna go see what we can do there.
Running a wagon again.
And I'm hoping, depending on, I don't know what there's some conversations happening in the group that I made today with Tyler and the Schaffners to find out who's going to be driving what cars. But I'm hoping nobody picks an 03 wagon, because I know mine does okay. But there's also a part of me that wants to go back to the 91 HD wagon, because then I can put the kickers in it. The 03 is not allowed to have kickers.
Can you sneak them in without anybody noticing?
Well, we're not going to do that.
Got to cheat to eat, man. You got to cheat to eat. You got to push that gray area.
There was somebody that said, "Man, that wagon is doing some weird stuff. What is going on?" And somebody in the chat goes, "Yep, all of his wagons do that." Somebody's going to make attention, and JYD said, he goes, "Take note then, because it's only going to go so far. It's going to stop." But it was really, really fun. And and JYD, he ended up carrying us down to third. He lost steering, and there was a chess match going on. I think Hunter Starr and one of the Smash Burns, Dylan Blackburn, got first place. Those guys, when I was tricycle out there, they didn't roll me over. They just kind of kept pointing the car in the right direction. So it was a lot of fun all the way around. It was cool. Yep.
What do you think?
I think we covered everything that I wanted to cover. You got anything to add?
No, I think we're good.
I don't know where things are at for one of the icons of my childhood, but thinking about Scott Hall and his family tonight.
Passed.
Did it? I missed it. And I know
earlier
today the family was
Nick said he thought he had surgery last week and then went downhill.
Yeah, so I don't know if you followed along. He had a bad fall at home.
Oh.
And he broke his hip, and he had to have surgery. And then I think it was last night into today.
He had 3 heart attacks.
In that 12-hour, 15-hour span.
I wonder if
a blood clot had broken loose and caused it.
See, that's what happened to my mom. She had a blood clot, and it caused a stroke, which then in turn caused a heart attack, and that was. So I was thinking it was when Nick said that. I was thinking it was somewhere along those lines. So
after surgery, though.
Hers was 2 years later. She'd had trouble with her legs, and she was, on blood thinners for that and this and that. And this is what we're assuming. We didn't have an autopsy, but that was kind of what the doctor thought. So,
what's that going to add?
No,
I've always wondered that. There's times where I understand, but at that point when you've already gone through all that for 2 years. What's it going to do?
She didn't need, and that's we told the doctor. We said, look, we don't want. So,
yep.
I've read an autopsy report before. It's nothing anybody should ever do, ever.
Nope.
All right. On that note, I think we should call it good. That would take us right into the morbidity, Chris. Woo!
Cruising right in. I just wanted to say well wishes. All right. 392. I still can't believe that those words are coming out of my
Creeping
mouth.
on the 400,
Oh
bud.
my God! Well, we've been talking about it for a long time, and now it's like
Here.
right there. It's right there. So we look forward to doing it again next week. Hopefully we entertain you again next time. We'll see you on 393 next Monday here on the Crash Course Podcast.
The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.